Hi everyone, this is Irina Litvin here with OneTribeCounselling.com, and what I want to share with you today is how you can dissolve a negative charge that you may have between you and a close relative or a friend or your significant other in your romantic relationship. Now, probably a lot of you can relate to that connection, strange connection that you may have with this person, where you feel that your mind keeps coming back to this connection, trying to understand why the dynamic is a certain way, why this person is treating you a certain way that probably is not the right one, not the way you want to be treated. Or stuff gets triggered over time, like you can notice a certain pattern that is repeating from time to time especially when your vibrations drop. So essentially, if you look into the root of this problem, there's a rejection wound that fuels it. Because all of us want to be accepted, to be respected, and to be seen for who we really are. It is natural to desire this. There's nothing crazy about it. And when we don't have that connection that is based on compassion and love with someone, especially someone who matters to us, then our mind keeps going back, trying to analyze, like, why we're not accepted, why we're not treated the way we deserve to be treated. So I found out that there are roughly about 5 steps that you can take to dissolve this charge and transmute the energy that it holds. So this way, this will allow you to restore a loving connection with that person, or at least you'll be able to accept them the way they are and not sweat about it, not have any negative emotions rise up every time you think about that person. So the first thing you need to do, step number 1, is to analyze how your rejection wound is triggered in this connection with this person when you communicate with them. Analyze where it might be coming from in your childhood. If there were some events in your childhood when you felt rejected by your parents, or a certain situation when you were little, just try to see it objectively without going deeper into details. Step number 2 is compassion for yourself. Cultivating compassion for yourself. You can just reflect on having more compassion for yourself. Accepting yourself the way you are. Because if you cannot accept yourself the way you are, then you cannot accept others and have compassion for them, have compassion for their mistakes. So in order for us to be able to do that, we need to accept ourselves with all of our flaws, the way we are, with all of our mistakes that we have ever done. Have compassion for yourself for doing those mistakes. Those are not mistakes, just choices that led to a different experience. May not be the best experience, could be challenging, but it was what it was. So accept that and have compassion for yourself. And step number 3 is forgiving yourself for all of that you did wrong, that you didn't like the outcome, didn't like the challenging situations that it triggered that choice that you made. Forgive yourself for all that. Forgive yourself for thinking all of those low vibrational thoughts about that person with whom you want to dissolve the tension. Forgive yourself for saying that things or doing some things that were not aligned with your heart. Completely and from your heart, forgive yourself right now. And then we go into the most important part of this process is the mind story. It's a tricky part. The mind story, this is the reason why so many people actually now in our world have a lot of attitudes, especially in big cities, because their minds are always telling them stories of how things should be, how people should be. It always tries to evaluate who is higher, who is lower, so it gives them an excuse to look down at someone. And our mind story is probably the main source of our pain in this situation when we have this tension with another person, because it usually starts with one emotion or just one thought. Oh, he said something or she said something mean to me. It's like so disrespectful, and then your mind tends to generalize, so it will be overlooking the past, and it will find something matching situation in the past. Oh, now we realize this person has been selfish all this time, all these years. He has been saying this and that, and little by little we add details to our story, and then before we know it, we find ourselves deep in, you know what, in low vibrations. And it causes us a lot of pain, it makes us feel unhappy, and within a short time, once we start thinking, going down this rabbit hole, we feel drained. Our energy is sucked out, just almost, it seems like instants sometimes. So, mind story is where we develop a negative attitude towards that person we're thinking about. And step by step, it may turn into contempt, which, if some of you are familiar with John Gottman's work, he has a brilliant article about four horsemen, basically the four pitfalls of relationships. And contempt is the number one. I have a link below in the description so you can check this article out. It's really nice. Contempt, you don't want your emotions to develop into any kind of contempt. Because especially if this is happening in your romantic relationship, then the charge will be growing. Every time you think about the person, even communicating is gonna be all filtered through contempt, through low vibrations. So pretty much every story that we create in our minds, that we tell ourselves, it creates a filter through which we see our reality. So every time we'll be communicating with that person, we'll be looking at them through this filter. So this filter will be blocking all of the good things that they're doing. We will not be aware of that. We will be just seeing a small portion of that person and judging them constantly for the little things, distorted things that we see. That's why we want to get rid of this connection. We want to change this around, this pattern that we have with this person, right? So analyze your story. And I think becoming aware of your mind story is a crucial part on the way to dissolve it. Because when you are becoming aware of that, it's like you're disarming it partially. It's crucial. So think about it. Think about your mind story. Try to track it and sort of wrap your consciousness, your awareness around it without going too deep into the details. Stay with it. And then the next step, step number 5, is dissolving this mind story through gratitude and compassion. Because the more you run away from it, the more you even judge yourself for having it, the stronger it becomes and it chases you. So in order for us to stop this vicious cycle, we need to look at it straight in the eye and dissolve it through compassion, gratitude, and appreciation. Just gratitude, feel gratitude in your heart for having that situation, having those thoughts in your head, having that situation filled with emotional charge and all of that was connected with it. And then notice, just feel it drop voluntarily. Just make this choice to drop this story. And the more you look at it with compassion, with gratitude from your heart, like sincerely from your heart, then you will notice it dissolving. You will notice that this mind story is just will start fading away. And I can tell you guys that this is so liberating. When you drop your mind story, and it allows you to see those people for who they are. It allows you to communicate from your heart with love and compassion. And as you know, like attracts like. When you start doing that for other people, they start seeing you this way. And they will start treating you with compassion. And they start seeing all of your beauty. And your communication will be so smooth after this. Personally for me, it has been so liberating when I realized that I had this mind story that was fueling one of my relationships with one person, with one relative. And all the difficulty, all that tension dropped once I became aware of the mind story and dissolved it with gratitude and compassion from my heart. Now, there's nothing going on, like there's no magnet in my head that drains my energy every time I think about that person. And I can talk to her without any attitude. It makes things so much easier when we approach them consciously and just walk our talk as light workers, do our light work, applying spirituality in real life. So I wish you good luck with that. I can't wait to hear about your story of dismantling your story. So drop any comments below. I'll be happy to check them out.